rigor is important. Whether or not it looks like a racy or gets that far, but the way in which this is done and the outcomes that are delivered should be underlined in the CEO Daybook. This is the 30,000-foot view they should have, not to design a racy or design the outcomes. You do not want the CEO doing that. But the CEO's sponsorship is fundamental to having the sales team adopt a sales process and the CRM activity that follows. So I'm absolutely not advocating that the CEO is in the detail, but I am advocating that the CEO should make it their responsibility to ensure that it is done. If it isn't done, and if we're not shining a light on these topics, then we are taking a robust view of sales admin and nothing more. And the application of these disciplines in that foundational activity and the operation of the sales process is what allows creativity to flourish without building a team of uncontrollable mavericks. So the CEO should be shining a light on our stakeholders working together, specifically in the design of the sales process and the procedures that allow it to operate. Can the CEO believe that the process is trusted by the team and stakeholders to make it easier to sell profitably? If the team don't believe that they can sell more, deliver more profit, and ultimately get paid more, then adoption is going to be simply about governance. They're not going to believe in the process. Part of that will also be about the resourcing of the activities. So the CEO needs to believe and articulate the degree to which the stages are resourced. So that might be resource itself, people. It might be specific accountability, which in turn might require some bravery to say that we're not going to do these things because we're prioritizing, for example, lead gen. Quite often in a growth phase, there will be a trade-off between corporate marketing and growth marketing, lead gen. There is a trade-off. There is not a bottomless pit of money. No marketer I've ever spoken to has said, geez, I've got all this money and I don't know what to do with it. But from a sales process point of view, there needs to be common agreement that we all recognize how enough high quality leads can land in the funnel to serve that process going forward. As one example, it's not the only example. Once something is sold, how do we resource onboarding? That will be another topic. That needs to be resourced as well. And again, resourcing. Is that people? Is that money? Is that training? Is that tech? There might be some tech aspect of how a customer is onboarded. The CEO needs to have control of that conversation in order to make this a worthwhile activity. The same dynamic applies to making it easier for the customer to buy. The customer is a stakeholder in your sales process. Ignore that, and it is, again, simply internal admin. Perhaps the single biggest topic is going to be around qualification. The diligent application of qualification throughout the process, because if we allow low quality opportunities to progress, either because we're not very good at it or because the numbers pressure means we want to show a big pipeline. We all know the dynamics. If we allow that to happen, salespeople will be super busy, but they are not going to be creative because they'll be spending their time cranking handles, hoping that enough will flow through. I guess there's a trade-off. Maybe in some businesses, it is simply a numbers game. But if scaling matters and the behaviors, the activities of the salespeople are the main factor in growth, and you've invested in that, then my bet is you want them to be creative. So diligence in qualification is a key factor. And the values and standards that are applied, not just to qualification, but in a wider context, across not just sales, but other departments as well, some of whom I've called out, but right across the business, those values and standards need to be upheld from the top. From a sales point of view and a sales process point of view, that means paying attention to what's going on with the sales process, driving iterations, reviews, and improvements, and making sure that it is fit for purpose. It's not the CEO's job, but if it isn't driven from the top, it is unlikely to happen, and the downstream consequences will ultimately draw the CEO into the discussion. And I'm advocating that nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So there is a lot that we could have covered about sales process design. I've tried to steer away from the mechanics, and we've chosen to focus on the why and the role of the CEO in ensuring that the sales process supports continued sales creativity. John, if there's appetite, we could use another session to dive deeper into something around the process, methodology, procedures in the operation, different subjects. But for today, I think we should close there.